Hello! You might be thinking, the best in the world, there's no way they can be taken down. And let me tell you, you would be wrong. Today, we are looking at the #1 restaurants in the world. We are looking at their worst reviews. And let me tell you, if you thought people couldn't be entitled when they were spending so much money at a restaurant, you'd be wrong. Thank you for joining me. These are the 50 best restaurants in the world. Like the piece de resistance. I didn't look at Michelin stars, but a lot of these, I'm willing to bet, have Michelin stars. Number 50th best restaurant in the world is Wolfgate. I don't really know how to say that. Paternoster, South Africa. I don't really know how to say that. This is ranked number 50. Look at this. Anyone who is willing to write, remember, this is number 50th best restaurant in the world. I can't wait to see how entitled this is. Arrogantly tasteless. That's right, folks. The 50th best restaurant in the world is arrogantly tasteless. We arrived with no exception. Hype is a dangerous precursor to any experience. After all, tastes differ, which makes TripAdvisor a platform to interpret with a pinch of salt. It was concerning from the start that there was no contacting place beforehand, indicating a touch of supremacy. I feel like if you're a top 50 restaurant in the world, there's maybe some argument for supremacy. But nonetheless, who are we to argue? Just go with it. Now, at 900 ZAR per person, what the fuck is ZAR? What is the conversion? That's not even that expensive. $60 a person? Really? That's it? Is this really? Really? Okay, well, I don't want to be stereotypical about South Africa. Say wow, maybe it's in South Africa, but now at 900 ZAR per person, normally a vegetarian menu has the same price. We were intrigued what the menu would offer. Vegetables for 900 ZAR. Anyone? Wait, so that's $60 per vegetable. That doesn't seem that wrong. We've been fortunate to experience some of the most memorable eating establishments all around the world, where 900 ZAR is considered cheap. One, however, needs to keep in mind, though, that one, you're in South Africa. Two, foraged local ingredients are cost effective. Okay, so maybe it is per person. That seems so low, though. After being told that there is no online vegetarian menu and that we can go through the normal menu where there would be some changes and a waiter will explain the dish at the table, rude and disrespectful crossed my mind. How does that make this is is this really the restaurant? I feel like this isn't that uncommon for a fancy restaurant. Rude and disrespectful crossed my mind. You don't feel a client is important enough for you to make an effort to have typed a vegetarian menu at 900 ZAR. They were aware of the special menu, which was requested online, gluten-free vegetarian, yet had to be reminded of this when the bread arrived. Are you kidding me? You're going to a top 50 world restaurant and you're worried about the fucking bread? I don't know what level of entitlement you need to be. I guess maybe that's the people who go to these restaurants. We were well aware that this is a seafood restaurant. Why are you going? It sounds like a vegetarian functionally wanted a vegetarian option at a seafood restaurant. I like menus that don't really allow you to change them, per se. I think it is kind of a travesty when someone goes into a restaurant and tells a chef, hey, guess what? I want to completely change this. Fancy restaurants, I don't change any. Whatever the chef says, especially if it's a handcrafted menu by a chef, you don't touch it. Flavors and tastes were bitter and rancid. Sunflower seed milk. What the fuck is sunflower seed milk? Anyone else know? Combined with herbed olive oil was questionable. Yeah, I can see that. Serving avocado during Southern Hemisphere summer is not sustainable. On the normal menu, 2 mussels, 2 oysters, a sliver of raw fish, and a thin half-palm-sized piece of fish offered per cuisine was the biggest rip-off of the year. Overpowering alcohol in the Granada, I think it's Granada, was off-balance and not complimentary to anything else on the dessert plate. The waiters were friendly or not trained properly, which quite honestly is a shame. Again, at 900 ZAR, this is just not acceptable. I feel like that's not expensive. $60 per person is honestly not that expensive. The front garden area is dead and dusty. Well, probably like your sex life. And while one doesn't expect to landscape gardening, something more appropriate to the environment would have worked. It would just seem like there's no effort being made. The disrespect and arrogance of the owner was surprising, not even bothering to stand up while I was speaking to him. As if he had to stand up, kind of messed up, but whatever. As we wanted to leave quickly, settling the drink bill was forgotten embarrassingly. After apologizing for the mistake, I asked the seated owner why the menus are priced the same when the ingredients were different. He explained I was lucky to not have been charged extra for the special menu. I kind of agree, you entitled fucking person. which they offer online. I must add, people like that are not worth responding to or continuing the conversation. I smiled. All in all, I'll classify this place as my worst overpriced meal and expensive anywhere in the world. I'm quite perplexed at how this place is internationally recognized. Not a single flavor pairing tastes fantastic. Do yourself a favor, don't waste your money as we did. Ozamendi is more than one of the most beautiful restaurants in Spain. Very fancy. Oh yeah, this is, there we go. The one person. And they always write so much too. The one person out of fucking 400 reviews who gave it, one. Totally not worth it. My husband and I traveled a long way to dine in this Michelin restaurant and we were so disappointed. From the moment we stepped in, we were ignored and not well served. We were offered only one type of bread instead of 3 that accompanied the different dishes, and I demand my 3 different breads. We found out later that a waiter apparently lied to the manager saying we chose not to have all 3 breads. This is pathetic. When we found a hair in the only bread we were given, we were questioned by a waitress as if we planted it ourselves. The waitresses who served us initially neither had knowledge about the dishes nor had proper manners and courtesy. After our complaint, the waitresses were replaced and the service was better. However, when we talked to the manager at the end of the meal, he was so rude that he interrupted and dismissed while we spoke and put down our bill with a thud. When we realized why majority of staff seemed lack training and their service quality was low, look at the manager. Having dined in Michelin-starred restaurants in London and Venecia, I think I might be saying that wrong. I probably am. The food in this restaurant was okay, but generally too salty and lacked a wow factor. Apart from the truffle-infused egg yolk that offered a unique taste, the roasted lobster lacked flavor and tasted like plastic. The ginger ice overpowered the delicate flavors of figs. The atmosphere was more for a normal restaurant with occasionally a fly overhead, a dead light bulb, and a spider hanging from the ceiling. It was by far the worst Michelin restaurant we have ever been, but ironically with the most stars. You know, I'm not opposed to people just having a bad time, but at some point you have to admit that, I feel like maybe you're the problem. Telia, I think this lady was on chef's table. The worst food you can ever get for the most expensive bill you will ever pay. The meals are all the same of taste and softness. For me, it was like, I'm admitted at hospital and has to eat 3 for the different type of ocean touch soup. That does not make sense at all. You should add the afterward belly pain to the $610 bill for 2 people. The only positive point was the drinks. Jesus, rough. I never got around to trying this place and was super excited to be able to get takeout during a... Well, you got takeout from one of the most expensive restaurants. Like, what? If it's a top 50 best restaurant, you shouldn't be getting takeout. It should be illegal. Unfortunately, it was pretty mediocre. That's probably because it was takeout. Bluebell farm soup, way too salty, even if dipping brioche into it. Also, flavor just isn't good. Spinach and ricotta cannoli, flavorless, tasted like nothing. Brioche, this was yummy, but all brioche is good. Not necessarily true, but okay. Chocolate cake, the crunchy bits in the frosting were nice, but the cake could have been out of a box. It all tasted like cafeteria food, plain food. It's definitely not worth the money, though I guess $38 per tax is supposed to be a steal compared to the regular $345 menu. Also, why does it have to be vegetarian? I can't believe I had to order this 5 days in advance. Lockdown isn't really an excuse. I've been getting takeout from other favorite restaurants throughout. The food is just as good as ever and ready half an hour after I call it in. Wow, you entitled fuck. Also, when I arrived, other customers seemed to have just ordered and stepped away from the window. I thought that since I'd already paid online, I'd be able to quickly pick up my bag and leave, but instead of sparing a server to take 2 seconds to grab my bag and hand it to me so I could be on my way, they made me wait while both staff members called other customers back to the window and then spent ages chatting and taking pictures with him. When he finally left, it took all of 15 seconds for them to give me my bag. Great time management, guys. It wasn't that long of a wait, but I'm not really thrilled about hanging out on a busy sidewalk during a pandemic, and this is just completely unnecessary. Also, I'd like the food if I would have forgotten about it, but since this is on top of bad food, it just made ulterior cren more disappointing. I hope the food and service are better when you dine in. I won't be back to find out. I don't understand. These people hate it so much. This is like a top-rated restaurant. It's kind of crazy, though, when you think about it, right? Mamma mia, the emperor's new... The Emperor's New Food. What a great title. I had originally planned to put this experience behind me and move on, but then the name Mameo appeared on the list. Have you visited this restaurant? Approximately 2 years ago, our daughter-in-law invited us all out to celebrate her new work assignment. We had the highest expectation, but were deeply disappointed. We are well-oriented in the restaurant sphere in Oslo. We pretty often go out for a nice meal. We had the set grand menu, can't remember the name, and look forward to this. First of all, the location is very bad. In a part of Oslo, we seldom drive though, not to mention walk through. There is either asphalt, concrete, glass, railway tracks, cars, or a strange ethnic mix of personnel. That sounds racist. I'm not gonna lie, man. When you say cars or a strange ethnic mix of personnel, that sounds pretty racist. Just saying. Well, inside we were not greeted, but had to place our coats on a tiny overfilled coat stand. We saw lots of employees occupied with internal communication, but not focused on our party. However, it turned out that the table next to us got a lot of attention later on. I have forgotten most of the dishes, but I can remember lots of pine needles as decorations. I thought one of the times that it was to eat, and I still have the taste in my mouth when thinking about it. I like how we just ate pine needles. Dry ice on stone plates causing smoke, several raw, non-tasting dishes including a raw chicken hot. That is kind of disturbing. I really tried to chew and taste, but had to spit it discreetly out. My wife and me looked at each other and I knew what she felt. I am not picky regarding food, just with people it seems. But that is the first time ever I haven't eaten a dish. If I should desperately try to give it a plus, I honestly can't remember. None of the dishes were memorable. Now, cue to the table next to us, obviously a business dinner with loud cheering and high alcohol factor, and people on the phone all the time. But when I tried to take a picture of a party with a concrete wall in the background, I was strictly told it is not allowed to take pictures in here. I think this is the worst meal experience ever. Even Mr. Ramsey Mays was less bad, and it put us back approximately $1,000 for 4 people. Leo in Bogota, Colombia. What a pretentious twaddle. That dude wins. I don't know if I went to a different restaurant to all the excellent reviewers, but the photos are the same as I ate. It's horrid, tasteless, or unpleasant, but never delicious. Looks great though, which made it even more disappointing. And the fermented drinks pairing is worse. The staff are lovely and take great effort to imbue the food with the story of Colombia and its cultural diversity. However, if this is Colombian diversity, I'd have preferred to stay home. I love Colombia, save your money. I'll go to El Chiaro, which is fabulous. What a fucking review. Oh god, I like it when companies respond. Either you get to order what you want or accept the recommendations of a suspiciously insisting staff. You will get far more words and entangled descriptions of what you are about to taste than actual food to taste. Such descriptions are full of confusing adjectives and over-decorated words that you will forget almost as soon as quickly as the flavors of the tiny bites in your dish. They're simply not that special. After all, you will find yourself paying a check inversely proportional to the void in your stomach, which will make you leave craving to find a street food wagon in front of a restaurant. I don't know, the chef dares to say during the foreword she traveled to remote zones of the country to teach, yes teach, not learn, the indigenous and Afro-descendant communities how to make the best of their ingredients. Interesting. Response. We appreciate your suggestions. There wasn't any suggestions in there. We understand you're not very fond of our culinary concept, and that is very respectable. Please, to learn more about where Chef Leo Espinozzi works in her foundation, visit us at funleo.org. I like how they just put it in there like, hey, you just go to our website. What a crazy thing. I think I would love to eat at all these restaurants. I'm going to be real. I feel like I would enjoy the experience. Also, I've eaten at a restaurant with multiple course meals, and I have always been way too full by the end. Like, I'm just like, no more food, please. So, like, the small portion sizes, and this is when I was fat too, but like really fat, like much fatter than I am now. Okay, like, when I say I was, like, fat, I mean, like, almost 100 pounds probably on what I'm on now. And so, like, I was, like, really big. And I was full after some of those meals. So I have a hard time believing that these people don't, like, you know, that these people aren't missing something. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe down below. And I do stream on Twitch every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. CST. And I will be having out more videos coming soon. Thank you.